Bonner and Clark continue. And players and officials now getting involved. Security has come off the bench. And Clark is trying to get these fans into it.
Bodies tangled, benches up, security stepping onto the floor. That is not how a 19-point fourth quarter is supposed to look. The Indiana Fever were blowing the Phoenix Mercury out, and the game still boiled over into 5 technical fouls, an ejection, and a fourth quarter that took 44 minutes of real time to finish. Let me show you exactly how it got there.
Points early in the quarter and did not score again until the very end of the quarter. Lexi at the beginning with the 3, Kelsey at the end with the 3. The look on Kelsey's face when that quarter ended said it all. It was abysmal. People in the chat were...
Here is what made the comeback so improbable. Indiana scored 3 points in the first 9 minutes and 58 seconds. 3. Phoenix ripped off a 19-0 run, and the Fever trailed by as many as 16. On paper, that game was already gone. Then the second quarter happened, and everything flipped.
And they came out on fire. Caitlin Clark in fuego. On fire. Of course, she has the keys. She's told us that she has the keys and she unlocked some doors, and then others follow suit. We had a big game from Mo Billings. We've been waiting for a double-double, the first double-double of this season, a 14-point game. And I'll go through the box score in a moment, but 14.
Caitlin Clark came out of that locker room and took the game over. She finished with 24 points and 9 assists on 8 of 17 shooting, and with it, extended the longest streak in WNBA history, 6 straight games with at least 20 points and 5 assists. Monique Billings added her first double-double of the year, 14 points and 10 rebounds. Kelsey Mitchell poured in 22. The Fever didn't just climb back into this game, they pulled away.
And when play eventually resumed, Hines Allen, who was also issued a technical during that whole thing, gets a second technical, therefore gets ejected when she, I feel, sends a message to Alyssa Thomas.
Within that, with her and Thomas. And there you go. As the hard foul is called on Hines Allen, Thomas walks away. Hines Allen has words.
So let's rewind to how the chaos actually started. The Fever were up 73-54 with 7 minutes and 57 seconds left when Clark and DeWanna Bonner got tangled in the paint fighting for position. Clark was whistled for a personal foul, her 4th of the night. But the real trouble came after the whistle. Words were exchanged. Bonner started to walk off, Clark followed, and a referee had to step between them. Then Alyssa Thomas and Myisha Hines Allen got into it. By the time officials restored order, 5 technical fouls had been handed out to 4 different players.
This is the funniest part. Yo, it's so funny, Sophie. Someone said in the chat that this needs to be a t-shirt. I don't have much to say. I'm just pointing my finger. And not only that, this dude right here, he was trying so hard not to laugh. It's wild. It's back. And look at Raven. Raven, I was saying that during the chat live stream too. She can't help but laugh. She's like, oh my. From South Carolina to Indiana, this dude right here, he's just like, so it's Sophie with the point and the stare.
And this is the image that's already gone viral. Sophie Cunningham pointing a finger directly at Bonner, and Bonner pointing right back. The two had to be separated by officials and team staff, and both were assessed offsetting technicals, same as Thomas and Hines Allen. In the replay, it almost looks comedic, teammates laughing on the bench, but underneath the laughter, these are former teammates colliding again. Cunningham and Bonner have shared a locker room before. The bad blood here isn't manufactured, and it didn't start Monday.
I gotta say this, I don't like to see people fighting. I want it to be basketball. But this is not the 2024 Indiana Fever. People throwing Caitlin all over the floor and doing stuff like that, and hardly any repercussions. And then they get on social media afterwards and talk more smack. Not happening, okay? Not happening. I don't want any fighting, but this team is not going to be bullied. not going to be bullied. And we have had people.
To understand why this got so personal, you have to know Bonner's path. She joined Indiana ahead of the 2025 season, appeared in just 9 games for the Fever, then requested to move on. She landed in Phoenix, the team she'd helped reach the 2025 WNBA Finals, and Monday was her return to Gainbridge Fieldhouse as the opponent. The Indianapolis crowd booed her after she knocked down a 3 in the second quarter. She finished with 7 points off the bench. So when the Fever stood up for one another, this wasn't random chippiness. This was a young team putting the rest of the league on notice that the days of getting pushed around without an answer are done.
This game was telling for Caitlin, because as I've been telling you all, her game has expanded exponentially. The best of the best from Caitlin you're seeing right now, and it was on display in that game. You just saw a couple threes I showed you, but she's not just scoring from threes. Her mid-range is exploding, and her ability to get to the basket exploding. We obviously know she can pass, but she is scoring in multiple ways.
Now step back from the drama for a second, because the basketball story is just as big. The Clark we're watching right now is a different player. She's not just launching threes from the logo, she's scoring in the mid-range, getting downhill to the rim, and finishing through contact. 2 weeks ago, she hit the first game-winning shot of her WNBA career against Washington on June 8th. Over her last 6 games, she's averaging right around 25 points with 7+ assists a night. After a season largely lost to injury, a healthy Caitlin Clark is rewriting the record book in real time, and the rest of the league is finding out she has another gear.
Bond, I mean, they're already close, no doubt, obviously, but things like this, when you are dealing with, when it's Fever against the world, you know, and you're dealing with like an AT and a DB, and listen, I'm not gonna be bullied out here on this floor. This ain't 2024, okay? So then, of course, Caitlin gets another technical, which is a problem because she has 5 already. After 8, you are suspended a game.
Now let's talk about what all of this actually costs. Caitlin Clark's 5th technical of the season came, by her own account, for clapping. After the game, she was still baffled by it. She said she asked the official, Gerda Gatling, why she'd been teed up, and the answer she got back was that it was for clapping. Clark called the call ridiculous and said if any technical deserves to be rescinded, it's that one. Under the WNBA's updated 2026 fine structure, that 5th technical carries a $1,000 penalty. But the fine isn't the real problem. The real problem is the math. Clark now has 5 technicals in 16 games. Under league rules, a player is automatically suspended for 1 game the moment they reach 8, and every 2 technicals after that triggers another suspension. So unless that clapping call gets wiped off the board, Clark is sitting 3 away from missing a game, with roughly 28 still left on Indiana's schedule. She basically said it out loud. Maybe everyone should just circle a date on the calendar now and pick the game she's going to be suspended for. And she's not carrying that risk by herself. Clark is tied with Atlanta's Angel Reese for the most technical fouls in the league this season, at 5 apiece. Since the 2 of them entered the WNBA in 2024, they've drawn more technicals than just about anybody. Whatever you believe about the officiating, the 2 stars pulling the most eyeballs are also pulling the most whistles, and that has quietly become its own storyline. Then there's Myisha Hines-Allen, who didn't just pick up a technical, she picked up 2. After the first wave settled, she was called for a foul on Alyssa Thomas, shoved Thomas after the play, and earned her 2nd technical of the night. 2 technicals is an automatic ejection. So with a comfortable lead, but real time still on the clock, the Fever had to close the game out a player short. That's the gamble in moments like this. You stand up for your teammates, and it can cost you bodies. Now, to be fair to Phoenix, this was not a one-sided night for the Mercury. Alyssa Thomas finished with 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 9 assists. And in the middle of all that, she became the fastest player in WNBA history to reach 500 assists with a single franchise, getting there in fewer games than Clark did. She also climbed to 13th on the league's all-time steals list. Kahleah Copper added 20 before she fouled out. Phoenix sits at 5-12. but they punched first, jumped out to that 19-0 start, and they did not go quietly. The two head coaches handled the aftermath very differently. Fever coach Stephanie White said her group has to be able to have its moment and then regroup and play with poise, that it can't keep escalating, and she gave the officials credit for getting the game back under control afterward. Phoenix's Nate Tibbetts wouldn't touch the dust-up at all. He kept it short, called his group competitive and veteran, and pointed straight ahead to the next one. And the next one is the part that should have your full attention. These two teams run it back on Wednesday, in the same building, with all of this still fresh. Bonner gets booed again. Cunningham, Thomas, and Hines Allen are all back on that floor. Clark is one technical closer to the line and playing with a target on her back. You do not get a cooling-off period when the rematch is 48 hours later. You get a rematch with the temperature already turned all the way up. Now zoom out for a second. The Fever that got shoved around in 2024 and then had to sit there and read the trash talk afterward. That team does not exist anymore. This group answered back. And physical, personal, rivalry basketball is exactly what is pulling record audiences to this league right now. People are watching. The only line everyone has to walk is the one between competitive and out of control, between standing up for each other and handing the other team a free game. So I'll leave you with this. Was Clark's technical for clapping fair, or should the league wipe it off the board before it costs Indiana a game down the stretch? Did the Fever finally draw a line that needed drawing, or did they let it run too long with the win already in hand? And when these two teams meet again Wednesday, with everything still raw, who walks out of Gainbridge with the win? Tell me where you stand in the comments. If you want the breakdown of that rematch the night it happens, make sure you're subscribed, because this rivalry is just getting started. Let's go, Fever. I'll catch you next time.